Good morning and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I am back with another bite-sized preview and also a little snippet into my opinions on the new Aston Villa signing that was finally announced yesterday. A new Italian in the ranks at Aston Villa, and hopefully he will match the feats of the past loan signing that we had, one Benito Carboni. First of all, though, I just want to give a shout out to the channel. So please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are well on the road to 3K, above 2,300 subscribers now. So do continue to hit that like button and do subscribe to the channel if you are new, just to help us continue to grow. So yeah, as I said, I want to give a little bite-sized preview to the upcoming game against Everton on Sunday. But I can't not speak about the new signing that was announced yesterday. Nicolo Zaniolo, Italian international, 24 years old, forward player, and is coming from Galatasaray on an initial loan with an option to buy at the end of the season. Galatasaray gave us all of the details. I think it's amounting to the whole deal could amount to almost 45 million euros, which, you know, obviously if he does really well would be a good, real good deal for us. And I think it's, you know, Italian internationals aren't, they've got a really good reputation and obviously very, very technically gifted players. So I think, you know, if he can hit the ground running, I hope this spell in Turkey at Galatasaray has done him the world of good, because he's obviously had to come back from two cruciate knee ligament injuries, and at the age of 24, while it's young enough to get back to fitness, it's a difficult one in terms of, as we all know, in terms of, that mental state of getting back into the game. But, comes with a really good pedigree. Is league champion last year with Galatasaray. He also came through Roma and won the Europa Conference League in 2022. And he scored, which was a lovely finish. And he won the Serie A Young Player of the Year for the 2018-2019 season. So has been on the scene for for quite a few years. And sometimes when players burst on the scene like that at such a young age, they do pick up these types of injuries. And I hope that going into this kind of mid phase of his career, he can really capture that form. And hopefully he's doing it at Villa now. He's a Monchi signing. Monchi signed him for. Monchi was remembered him from Roma, and kind of kept his eye on him, I'm sure. And we're looking at the profile of player that we wanted in those forward areas, I think has swooped in and gone for him. As I say, we do lack a little bit of height and presence in those midfield forward areas, and maybe it'll be a real compliment to Moussa Diaby, Ollie Watkins, etc., etc. So we wish him all the best. He can't feature tomorrow. We've got, the signing is pending a successful visa application. I'm sure that will be fine. And hopefully he goes into, a squad for whether it be Wednesday against Hibs in the Conference League or whether it be next Sunday for the Burnley game. I'm sure we'll see him very, very soon. So yeah, Zaniolo unfortunately won't be able to play in tomorrow's game against Everton. But we have the opportunity to put right the wrongs of last week's debacle at St James's Park. And you look for opportunities and games that maybe give you that opportunity to put things right. And I would say home against Everton is one of those games that you might look for. That's not to say that they're not a tough side to play against, and I'm sure they will be really up for it. They lost last week to Fulham, and I'm sure that they will be massively up for the game. There's no probable sort of lineups at the moment, but I will go through from our preview show what George and Martin said in terms of what they would do. So in terms of George's lineup, he went for Martinez in goal, Cash at right back, and Carlos and Conser at centre back, and Pau Torres at left back, with a midfield three of Kamara, Douglas Luiz, and John McGinn. Jadon Philogene Bitesize coming in on that left-hand side. Diaby working in from the right-hand side and Watkins up front. Now, I would imagine that McGinn would be operating just behind Watkins, and Louise and Kamara as a double pivot there. But obviously, Luca Dean missing out there and Pau Torres coming in as that third auxiliary centre-back, and allowing Cash to push forward, but also giving us that height in the defence, because as we know, Everton have got, a lot of height with Onana, Decore, Tarkovsky, possibly Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So, yeah, I think that is a wise choice for my opinion in defence. Martin has gone for a slightly different lineup. He's gone for Martinez in goal. He's gone for the back four of Cash at right back, Konsa and Torres in the central defence, Luca Dean at left back, a midfield with Tielemans and Luiz, with Coutinho in front of them, and McGinn operating from that right-hand side, Diaby from the left-hand side, and Ollie Watkins up front. So Coutinho coming in in place of Bailey there, Tielemans coming in place of Kamara, and obviously Torres there replacing Tyrone Mings. So again, slightly different. I like the idea of McGinn operating from that right-hand side. I'm not sure whether Coutinho would quite get into the starting lineup yet. And then there might be a question mark over that height option with Luca Dean and Pau Torres. But certainly an interesting one. And you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments about what you would do for your starting lineup to cope with the height and the physical threat that I'm sure Everton will possess. Quick look at the head-to-heads and the statistics. There's not too much in terms of this season's statistics, and not too much that we would want to really look at. But in terms of head-to-heads, we've played each other 57 times in the Premier League. Villa have 24 total wins. Everton have 14 total wins, and we've won 15 of those at home. And we've drawn 19 times. I believe it's the most played fixture in I think top flight history as well. So we are old foes in terms of that. We've got a good recent record against Everton. We obviously last season we won 2-0 at Goodison and won 2-1 I think it was the second game of the season at Villa Park last season. Albeit it was a bit of a hairy finish, and Diego Carlos got that injury, which was such a shame. Season before, won 1-0. Obviously, one of Gerrard's early away victories, beat them 3-0 as well at Villa Park, and then a 0-0 draw previous to that. So we have a really good record, and obviously that remembering that 2-0 victory when we first came up, which was a phenomenal night on that early. Again, August evening when we our first victory when we just got promoted again. So good memories against Everton. In terms of form, this is taken into account pre-season. Obviously, not too much to take into account there. Obviously, opposition Villa faced seems stronger. But looking at the first games of the season, both teams looking to get back to winning ways. Fulham beating Everton last week, and obviously Villa suffering a heavy defeat against Newcastle. So, as I say, in terms of recent records against Everton, we look pretty strong. But it's a difficult one. It's going to be a difficult game, and I hope the players have learnt from last week, and Everton will pose a different type of threat to Newcastle, but one that we have to be wary of. A few little head-to-heads and little kind of fun facts. We are unbeaten in 8 Premier League meetings with Everton since our Premier League return in 2019, and we've won each of the last 4, as I showed you there. However, the 5-1 loss to Newcastle was our heaviest opening defeat since a 4-0 reverse to Man United in 1985. We've won our first home league fixture in each of the past 3 seasons, though, and we have won our final 7 Premier League home games last season. So we are very, very strong at home. We have a really good home record. So yeah, it's hopefully we can continue that on Sunday. Luca Dean is set to play the 300th league game of his career. Obviously, he'd be facing his old club. Now, this is where it gets a little bit sketchy. Everton could lose their opening 2 Premier League games for the second successive season. However, they do have Sean Dyche as their manager, and he's unbeaten in 3 Premier League visits to Villa Park while in charge of Burnley. And he's won once and drew twice. And we did cover that on the show the other night. He does have a decent record against Villa, and does frustrate us. He can frustrate us. I remember a game in lockdown where it was 0-0 and we just had about 35 shots and just could not score. So yeah, he is a manager who knows kind of how to perform effectively against Aston Villa. Ashley Young obviously returning to Aston Villa very quickly. So he's going to be well up for it, and I'm sure he will get a great reception. But he'll definitely want to put one over us, especially the way that he kind of describes the way that he left the club. And Neil Maupay has failed to find the net in his past 28 games in all competitions. So up steps Aston Villa. No, I'm sure we will keep that net clear for Neil Maupay. But he's definitely a player who likes to come up against Villa, particularly when he was at Brentford and Brighton as well. So he's one to watch, and I'm sure he will be massively up for the game as well if he's playing. I've gone for a 3-0 win. So I do think we will get the win. I think the crowd will be extremely up for it. First home game of the season, especially after last week, the excitement of playing in the Conference League later on in the week. I think the crowd will be massive. Nicolo Zaniolo, I'm sure, will be presented to the home crowd, so that's another reason to get up for the game and to give him a massive welcome. So yeah, I do feel like we'll win quite comfortably. You guys let me know in the comments what you think the scoreline is going to be and how you think we'll fare. And yeah, I do think we'll get back to winning ways and hopefully start pushing up that table. That's it for the preview. Thank you so much for watching. As I said before, continue to support us. Do hit that like button, do hit that subscribe button, and help us on the road to 3K. We're well over 2,300 now. So yeah, do continue to support us growing. I will be at the game with some of the other Villa Park Pod lads. I think we're heading to the Aston Tavern. So do come and say hello if you're about. Be great to see you all and great to have a chat, obviously, about the Villa and hopefully about us getting 3 points. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support. And as always, remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.